So they told you they loved you, looked you in the eye, held your hand, maybe even cried with you. But something always felt a bit off, like their emotions were fake, insincere. And if you've ever asked yourself, was any of it even real? You're not alone. So many people have fallen for someone who seemed perfect on the outside, but on the inside, they were cold, calculating, and even cruel. I'm Lise Leblanc, therapist, author, and life coach, and today we're talking about whether a psychopath can actually love someone or is it all just manipulation. And stick around until the end because I will share my #1 tip for recognizing whether you're dealing with a true psychopath. Before we go any further, let's just take a moment to clarify what we mean by psychopath. In psychology, this refers to a specific cluster of traits: superficial charm, lack of empathy, manipulativeness, shallow emotions, grandiosity, and emotional coldness. What really sets a psychopath apart is their underlying emotional and interpersonal style. It is very cold and calculated. There are a lot of myths surrounding psychopathy, and one of those myths is that most psychopaths are serial killers or violent criminals. But research suggests that a significant portion of psychopaths never get involved with the criminal justice system, and they may even thrive in high-status careers in business, law, medicine, politics, where their traits can be mistaken for confidence, decisiveness, and charisma. Now, that's not to say that they don't do damage. Even those who are not criminal will leave a trail of emotional devastation and destruction in their personal relationships and in their workplaces. Another myth is that psychopathy is extremely rare. While a full clinical diagnosis of psychopathy is estimated to be around 1%, studies suggest that up to 5% of adults show elevated psychopathic traits. And here's another interesting fact. About 20 to 25% of clinically diagnosed psychopaths are women. So that's about 1 in 100 women, which is not that rare. Okay, so now that we understand more about psychopathy, the big question is, can a psychopath truly love someone? The short answer is no, and the long answer is still no. While psychopaths can mimic love when they want to and need to, their actual experience of love does not include deep, genuine emotional connection. For them, what looks like love is actually a simulation. It's a shallow and strategic way to gain control, to get their needs met, to achieve certain goals. It's really about convenience and control rather than intimacy or love. That said, a psychopath might form superficial attachments to close family members, especially if they serve a practical purpose. But again, it's driven more by utility than genuine affection or emotional closeness. Psychopaths can also become addicted or dependent on someone who is emotionally chaotic and crisis-driven, like someone with borderline personality disorder, for example, because psychopaths often crave that stimulation, so they may be drawn to the intense, unpredictable emotions that come with such turbulent relationships. The chaos can provide the excitement and the challenge that they seek, and the constant emotional ups and downs can create a kind of psychological dependence, making the psychopath feel more attached, but in reality, it's closer to addiction than it is to love. Now, before you start worrying that you might be a psychopath because you've been drawn into an emotionally intense, chaotic relationship, just ask yourself this. Are you consciously manipulating, controlling, and exploiting others for your own benefit? Are you cold, calculating, and even cruel with your words and actions? Do you consistently lack guilt and remorse when your words and actions hurt others? Now, if you're asking these questions and genuinely concerned about the answers, chances are you are not a psychopath. One of the defining features of psychopathy is that consistent emotional detachment paired with a lack of guilt, remorse, shame, empathy, and without true emotional connection. Even though psychopaths have limited genuine emotions themselves, they are very good at mimicking emotions, and often quite convincingly. They can fake warmth, sadness, or affection. They really are masters of imitation. And in many ways, this is a survival mechanism. They don't naturally experience empathy or emotions like others, so they have to study and learn to mimic social cues, mirror emotional expressions, and try to act normal to blend in and navigate social interactions. But it is a performance aimed at helping them fit in, influence others, and get what they want. So they've developed a deep cognitive understanding of emotions and an ability to replicate them to avoid detection. They're basically like actors who have studied the script of human emotion, and they've done so really well. They can perform it on demand even if they don't truly experience those emotions. And this combination of emotional detachment and cognitive understanding of emotions is what makes them really good at manipulating others. And in the case of psychopathy, this is quite conscious. They know that they are playing a role. It is calculated and deliberate. It's a performance aimed at achieving their goals and getting their needs met. And their goals typically include things like gaining power, control, dominance, material and financial gain. It can be about status and even admiration. But unlike narcissists, their need for status and admiration is different. There's different underlying reasons. Narcissists want admiration to support their fragile ego, and they're quite sensitive to how other people see them. A psychopath, on the other hand, is focused on admiration as a way to gain power, control, and to influence others to get what they want and avoid accountability. And their ways of avoiding consequences are also more extreme than narcissists. They will use much more elaborate lies, deceptions, and extreme forms of gaslighting. But like all emotional manipulators, psychopaths are good at faking it. They love bomb you. They shower you with excessive attention, affection, compliments, and this is all to gain your trust quickly. We usually talk about love bombing in the context of romantic relationships, but this tactic isn't limited to romance. They can and will use this in any close connection. And like narcissists and sociopaths, psychopaths use love bombing to draw you in, to get you to lower your defenses so that they can ultimately influence and control you. Once you're deeply connected to them, you'll start to see the cracks in the facade. You will catch them lying, gaslighting, manipulating, being cold and cruel. You will see the inconsistencies. You may even notice that their displays of emotion are fake, overly dramatic, oddly timed, insincere, and that is because it's insincere. So if you've ever been in a relationship with someone like this, you probably already know that logic isn't enough to make you leave, even once you know that something is seriously wrong. The cognitive dissonance and the trauma bond can keep you stuck for a very long time. So seeing the truth and letting go can be really hard, not because of love, but because of all the manipulation, confusion, and control, as well as the hope that this person will go back to being the person that you met in the beginning. But the hard truth is that a psychopath does not love you, at least not in the way that you're thinking of love, just because they don't have the emotional depth and capacity required for genuine love. They may say they love you. They may even believe it from time to time. But their version of love is not rooted in connection, care, or vulnerability. It's rooted in possession, control, and utility. Okay, so the most important thing you can do to spot a psychopath is pay attention to emotional and behavioral patterns over time. The truth is there is no single test or obvious giveaway because psychopaths are extremely skilled at putting on a convincing act. They know the right things to say. They can mimic emotions and they can be charming. That's why the real key to protecting yourself is not letting anyone hijack your emotions, not let them love bomb you, not let them rush intimacy. As much as it might feel magical in the moment, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And once you're emotionally hooked and trauma bonded, it becomes much, much harder to walk away, even once you can see their lies, their manipulations, and their abuse. Another thing is that if you're feeling emotionally starved and deeply alone, even in the presence of your partner or loved one, feeling like they truly do not care one iota about your feelings and needs, and they only want what they want, no matter the cost or consequences to you, then it's a serious red flag. And if this is your case, I'd suggest you take a step back, you examine those patterns more objectively, and you consider reaching out for support. Therapy can be extremely helpful in breaking free from these unhealthy dynamics and rebuilding your sense of self. And if you're ready to take that next step, I also offer a toxic relationship recovery program and a men's group coaching program, both of which I linked below. And this will help walk you through the healing process. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. And let me know in the comment section if you've ever questioned whether the love you were experiencing was real or just some twisted game. Remember, your story can help others feel less isolated and less alone. For more information on the red flags of a female psychopath, please click on the link above.